Hey guys, welcome to the premiere episode of the Anything and Everything show, where we talk about anything and everything from Marvel, DC, wrestling, whatever's going on in the geek world, if you would say. I'm Tyler, this is Zach, and today we are going to talk about the Marvel Hall H Comic-Con presentation for our first episode, and it was big. Like, don't you think, Zach? Like, it was really big.
It was shocking, and honestly, I did not expect that because we heard reports about how Comic-Con is not going to be a place where they're going to announce stuff. It's going to be D23.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Comic-Con. They announced not only the Phase 5 slate, they announced dates for Phase 6 and even dates for Phase 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like they just said, hey, here's everything, guys.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
So, first off, we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Phase 5 slate, which will start off with Ant-Man, Quantumania, and end with Thunderbolts. So, with that being said, let's get into everything real quick. That Phase 6 is going to, right now for Phase 6, we only have Fantastic Four, and it will end with Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. So we're going to talk about Phase 5 right now. I'm going to give it over to Zach because he has his thoughts on movies and everything. And at the end of the Phase 5 slate, he's going to give what he thinks should be the Thunderbolt team lineup. All right, Zach.
All right, so let's start with Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania. So I got to say, it's interesting. Feige said that it's a team-up film. But what do you mean by that? Did he just mean Stature, Wasp, and Ant-Man, or does he mean other Avengers might appear? So it's very interesting. But finally we get Kang, and it's the Kang from the comic books in Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania. We don't know what Kang we're getting in Kang Dynasty. It could be multiple Kangs. But here, we are getting the comic book accurate Kang from the promo art I've seen. And it's interesting. They recasted Cassie Lang, which I know everybody's iffy about, but honestly, let's see what happens. Maybe it works for the movie. I actually love the Ant-Man films more than most people. Most people say they're not that great. They're lower tier MCU. I think they're in the middle. They're not the best, but they're in the middle. But yeah, Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania, Bill Murray's in it, which I'm excited to see Bill Murray in it. I'm excited to see what happens. Like, is the whole movie, since it's called Quantumania, is it in the quantum realm the entire movie? Well, maybe the Kang we meet, that's the comic accurate Kang, is in the quantum realm. It's not even in art. So it's very fascinating.
Yeah, so with the details that people have been releasing about what the trailer was they showed at Comic-Con, which was specifically for the people at Comic-Con, they go in a quantum realm and they go to the city in the quantum realm, and that's where Kang's at, and then Ant-Man says, I'm an Avenger, and Kang says, have I killed you? And, like, I don't know. Have you read the details?
I have, and it's interesting. I mean, I believe it's accurate, because why would, somebody from Comic-Con, they just described it, what the trailer was. I wish it was released online. We clearly, since Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is the first Marvel movie of 2023, I think we will get the trailer attached to Wakanda Forever, which we'll talk about Wakanda Forever later. I know that's the end of Phase 4 and everybody wants to talk about it. I have a lot of thoughts on that, but Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, my final thoughts are it's going to be good. I'm excited to see, and this could be the last Ant-Man film. Think about it.
Yeah.
A lot of movies end at 3. Just because Thor and Captain America are having their 4th movie, that doesn't mean we'll get Ant-Man 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe if Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania makes $1 billion, we might get Ant-Man 4. But we will see what happens. But I love Paul Rudd. To me, any movie with Paul Rudd in it already wins.
Oh, yeah.
So, just to see him back, and, of course, the beginning of the movie, he's going to be living high because, he has a podcast in Miss Marvel where he talks about what happened in Endgame to the world. Michael Pena, he has a way, he kind of like how Korg did in Thor 4. Korg can describe Thor's story. Michael Pena's Luis, he could describe the entire MCU. Like, I would watch a whole Disney Plus show of that. So I hope he's in it. I don't know if he is because I heard he's not. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my final thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, next we got Secret Invasion. Now this one I'm interested about because
I gotta plug my phone.
Do I keep talking?
Yeah.
Oh. Secret Invasion is a different show than She-Hulk. She-Hulk's coming out, comedy. Miss Marvel was a coming-of-age story. Secret Invasion is I heard it's a political thriller. But it's interesting. Who is a Skrull? Now, we don't know what characters will appear in it. Nick Fury's not a Skrull in this because if I remember correctly, Talos is also in this, but so is Nick Fury. So I think we'll have two different,
Which I also heard that they're going to, how do you put it, ignore what happened in Captain Marvel with how we thought the Skrulls would be bad in Captain Marvel. Then they announced Secret Invasion. And we're like, well, I thought the Skrulls were good. But I read an article that said that they're going to change all of that and Talos is actually going to be bad.
Well, I read, this was years ago after Cap Marvel, when he was being interviewed, Kevin Feige said that just because you just saw good Skrulls in Cap Marvel doesn't mean somewhere out there there's bad Skrulls. It's like Kree. There are some good Kree. There are some bad Kree. So we haven't really seen the evil Skrulls yet. Even though Talos seems evil, I think he's okay. Like, I think he's good, but they could turn him evil. I mean, I don't know. But Secret Invasion I thought would be the next Avengers film, and then I thought the last one would be Secret Wars. But see, they decided to do the Disney Plus show. At first, I was kind of mad because I was like, I don't want 6 episodes of Secret Invasion. But now that She-Hulk's 9 episodes and Daredevil's 18 episodes, I think we might get 9, maybe 12 episodes of Secret. Who knows? So I can't wait to see it. We don't know much. What the most disappointing thing for me was a lot of the cast was not even at Comic-Con. Yeah. It was just Colby Smulders, which is great. I love her. But it's like, well, I want to hear Samuel Jackson talk about it. I want to hear Ben Mendelsohn talk about it. I want to hear Emilia Clarke talk about it. I want to hear Olivia Colman, who go
ahead.
I just read a spoiler about who she's playing. It's very interesting. But yeah, Secret Invasion.
Yeah. So back on the Emilia Clarke thing, there's rumors going around that she is actually playing Quake, who was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and who's an Inhuman.
By the way, can I just say I love Chloe Bennett as Quake, and I want her in the MCU, but I get it. The reason why Kevin Feige brought back Charlie Cox's Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, is because the fans were begging, they were asking, they were hashtagging, they were, so we got them back. But do you see anybody begging for Quake to come back? No, because people are thinking about other things in Marvel. They're not even, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended in 2020, so we don't really. It's fascinating. By the way, I am a firm believer that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon to the MCU. I understand that people are divided on that. I'm saying what I think. I've watched the whole series a dozen times. It's in the MCU. So I just want to let you know that. That's my mindset. But recasting, though, the MCU's done that. Look at what happened with Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle, right? Terrence Howard, and then they recast it. So then recasting Quake is not a big issue to me as long as we get Quake. Yeah, but that's my final thoughts on Secret Invasion. And now we're going to move on to my most anticipated movie of Phase 5, which is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And the reason why is James Gunn is in my top 3 favorite directors of all time. After Peacemaker, he can do no wrong. I mean, come on. Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, Guardians 2, Guardians 1, Super. Even Super, which I think is his best film. If you haven't seen Super, I highly recommend it.
It's funny because the Comic-Con presentation of Guardians 3, which was this past Saturday, and yes, we are almost a week behind on Comic-Con. That's just because we were getting everything ready for the show tonight, and we both work full-time. That being said, James Gunn was on stage and said, today marks exactly 10 years since I got on a plane flew to Kevin Feige and pitched Guardians. That's just crazy.
And that's when they were filming Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Because back in 2012, 2013, when I heard a Guardians film was coming, I was like, I don't even know who that is. And then when I saw the movie, by the way, I was interested in the movie after the trailers, but when I saw the movie, I was like, is this even in the MCU? Because it had a different, space in the Guardians film. The first Guardians film was different than the space we saw in Thor 1,
Mm-hmm.
Thor the Dark World. So MCU had two different, it felt like it was a multiverse. Because if you watch Thor 1 and watch how he travels through space, that space is not the space in the other Thor movies like Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, and it's not the space in Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. So it's interesting that the MCU kind of rebooted space and the way it looks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more bright and colorful, and and you can do some interesting things in space. But Guardians 3, what's funny is, I want to tell you something interesting. We were supposed to get Guardians 3 in May of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But before James Gunn got fired in 2018, they were going to film Guardians 3 in January 2019, and it was supposed to come out May of 2020. That was the plan. Now, yeah, what happened. I'm not going to talk about it. It's a long story. But I'm actually happy because now, not only do we get Guardians 3 the way we were supposed to get in 2020, and yes, it's the same one, even though maybe James made some little changes, but it's pretty much the same movie that we were going to get in 2020
Mm-hmm.
that we're getting next year. But Guardians 3, because Guardians 3 is my most anticipated movie because of the characters. To me, James Gunn has a way of making characters that you just care about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, there's characters that come in the MCU where you're like, who cares? But no, Drax, his story is fascinating. Now, I know, he didn't get his revenge on Thanos, and I know people complain about it, but Rocket's story is very interesting because the High Evolutionary is the villain of this movie. So we're going to find out, So I think Guardians 3 is a little bit more about Rocket than any other Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
But also we got Gamora returning, which I'm confused. Gamora was interesting in Endgame, it was. But it's but they didn't show her, getting dusted when Tony snapped because she's from 2014
Mm-hmm.
with Thanos. So she should have got dusted, but I don't know if they brought her on the ship. It's interesting. But the fact that we get to see Peter and Gamora together, where Gamora and Peter, Peter has to realize that Gamora doesn't even know who he is. So he's in love with her, but she's not in love with him.
Well, in the trailer description,
it
said that Gamora is the leader of the Ravengers now.
Which is interesting.
And Peter and her actually go face to face with each other, and Peter says, "Do you not remember our time together?" And she says, "No."
Yeah, so it's interesting. So we're going to figure that out. I have to talk about Adam Warlock. In my opinion, and I get why James Gunn did Guardians 2 the way he did, but I read an article, this was years ago, that Guardians 2 was supposed to take place 4 years after Guardians 1, not 2 or 3 months. And but the reason why they decided to go Guardians 2 is they wanted Baby Groot,
Mm-hmm.
but if they would have had Guardians 2, like James Gunn said recently at Comic-Con, he said Adam Warlock was going to be in Guardians 2 because he was the main focal point in Guardians 2 to lead into Infinity War where he has the Soul Stone. That was what was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in Joss Whedon's version of Infinity War and Endgame, Adam Warlock would have been in it. But I love the Russo brothers. What they did was amazing. I'm just saying Adam Warlock should have been in Infinity War and Endgame, but it is what it is. But I'm excited to see. I think they got a great actor in Will Poulter playing
Mm-hmm.
Adam Warlock. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Guardians 3. Now we're going to move on to Echo. Now, now I know there's a lot of divisive about this. So we didn't care about Echo and all that, but we do know that Daredevil is in this show. So we not only get Daredevil and She-Hulk, we get him in Echo next, and Echo and Kingpin's in it. And I read he has an eye patch.
Yeah.
So there's many different theories going around. I could see Echo being only 6 episodes because I don't know why they would spend a lot of time. Echo wasn't that big of a character in Hawkeye, so I don't know. I don't see Echo being a big show, But hey, let's wait for a trailer, and then I'll have more thoughts on that. Moving on to
Loki season 2.
Loki season 2. So I'm trying to think what's next.
Yeah.
Loki season 2. Now, Loki season 1. I know a lot of people are confused, but I actually love Loki. The only episode that was kind of like filler was episode 3. but that because episode 3 didn't have Owen Wilson in it. The best part about Loki is Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston's chemistry.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion, Loki cannot succeed without Owen Wilson in every episode. Like, he has to be in every episode. So, but I love Loki. I love seeing alligator. We saw stuff in Loki I never thought we would ever see in live action. I did not think we would see it. The only problem I have with Loki is, Loki started this multiverse stuff. Where you saw at the end of Loki the timeline branching off. That was the multiverse of madness. Like, that should have been the multiverse of madness, right?
Which there's a lot of debate with a lot of people on who started it. Was it Spider-Man? Was it Loki?
And then Feige said in No Way Home, the reason the spell happened the way it happened was because of Loki. That's what I thought from the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we watched the movie, it's like, that's not... I'm confused because there's no mention... So, it's interesting. But then we get to Multiverse of Madness. There's, no TVA. There's no Kang. Because I read a lot of leaks that Loki was going to appear in Multiverse of Madness. We were going to get a bunch of different Kangs in Multiverse of Madness. We were going to get... None of that happened. So, like I said, there's a lot of theories that I read every single day about all these Marvel movies coming out. And about 95% of them don't come true. Yeah. So, I don't know where this comes from, but that's my thoughts on Loki Season 2. I cannot wait for it. I'm actually more excited for Loki Season 2 than I am Secret Invasion, and then I am Echo. So, that after She-Hulk, by the way, I'm excited for She-Hulk. We'll talk about She-Hulk later, but I'm excited for that too. But, man, yeah, Loki Season 2, great. Let's move on to what's next.
The Marvels.
The Marvels. All right, now here we go. Now, I just saw the other day an article saying the Marvels had a bad test screening. What that means is that audiences didn't love the screening of Marvels that they saw. That's interesting because what that means is Marvels could be delayed. I don't think it will be, but if it's bad, they got to do massive reshoots, which reshoots don't mean the movie's bad. Every movie now gets reshoots.
But might not be true either because the one and only great John Campea, go check out his channel.
Yep.
Said that, how can they have a bad test screening when they're still in, I think, they're still in production, aren't they?
Yeah, they're still in production. I don't think they're in post-production. I think they're actually, like, filming. Yeah. Like, I think they're still filming. So, I don't know. Maybe they just... excuse me. Maybe they just showed, like, the first 15 minutes or a 15-minute segment of what they filmed.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the test screen. We don't know. I wish I could be invited to these test screenings because, I've never been to test screening before, so I don't know what they're like. I don't know. But, yeah, so the Marvels, my thoughts are, we got Captain Marvel. We got Monica Rambeau from WandaVision, which last time we saw her. And we got Miss Marvel, which I love. We'll talk about that show, but my God, what an amazing show. But we got the Marvels. I don't know what the movie's about, though. I mean, we got a new director. So Inaya DaCosta, who she just did Candyman.
What do you think about this musical part that they're saying they're going to have?
It's hard to say. Like I said, I don't know because the Marvels is supposed to be Captain Marvel 2, but they're calling it the Marvels because there's other characters in it. But I'm like, well, is it a sequel to Captain Marvel? Like, is Jude Law going to return? So we don't know who's in this movie. Maybe is the cat in the movie? Where's Goose? It's a Top Gun reference. Mm-hmm. Where's Goose? So yeah, but that's my thoughts on the Marvels. I will have more thoughts when I see a trailer. So, but until then, I honestly don't know what to think about the movie. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Marvels.
All right, next is probably one of the, I don't know how to say it. It's Blade. We've all been wondering how far down the road Blade was going to come out, when it was going to come out, and to everybody's shock, it's coming out next year.
Now, that's interesting. I said Blade could make that November date, and I said this months ago. Mm-hmm. But Blade, I cannot wait for it. Like, to me, Blade has to be in my top 3 most anticipated films of Phase 5. We got Guardians 3, Blade, and then my last anticipated movie is Thunderbolts. Because the Thunderbolts. We'll talk about that later. But the Thunderbolts is interesting that they're actually doing that as a movie, not a Disney Plus show.
Mm.
I thought it'd be a Disney Plus show, honestly. But anyway, Blade. You got Mahershala Ali. I mean, what do I have to say? This movie, there's no way it's gonna be bad. Like, I'll tell you this right now, it's not gonna be bad. Now, I like the Wesley Snipes Blade. I actually like all three Blade movies. Like, I understand people don't like the third one, and I get it. But I actually thought it was engaging. It was entertaining. The way I love movies, I base it off entertainment. So I'm not looking like other people that like, oh, that CGI is awful, that bad acting. I base off, am I engaged in the movie? So that's what I do.
Now, what do you think about the rumors going around that the awesome Anthony Starr is going to be playing Dracula? Anthony Starr, by the way, plays Homelander in The Boys, which is an awesome show, not for kids.
Yeah, The Boys, God, I cannot talk about Anthony Starr. He is my actually top choice to play Reverse Flash. He is perfect for that role, in my opinion. Like, I'm just putting that out there. If we ever get, now that the whole Flash is a mess, we're never going to get another Flash movie. I mean, who knows? But anyway, Anthony Starr as Dracula, perfect casting. Anybody can play Dracula. I mean, it don't matter who you get to play Dracula, as long as they look good in the makeup and everything. But I mean, Anthony Starr, perfect choice. Everybody wants Anthony Starr now. After he gave that performance in The Boys, come on, everybody wants him. We don't know who's playing Whistler, so there's some casting announcements, but I can't remember who the guy is. But there's and the problem with the MCU right now is they're introducing the Eternals. By the way, I love that movie. I'll talk about that movie more later. But Eternals, I understand why people didn't like it, but it's amazing. But they're introducing Celestials. They're introducing the TVA. They're introducing the multiverse, and now we have to expect that vampires exist in the MCU. Like, have they been in the MCU this whole time? Have they? It's very fascinating because we never heard about them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if a vampire's been around since Iron Man 1, it's like, well, there was no story about that, though. Like, so how do you introduce vampires to the MCU? Is Blade just now coming, like, is he becoming Blade in this movie? Like, is this like an origin movie? Or is he just already Blade? Because in Eternals, we heard his voice talking to Dane Whitman. By the way, Black Knight, Dane Whitman's got to be in this movie because of what happened in Eternals. Otherwise, what was the point of that post-credit scene? So I think we'll see Kit Harington return as Dane Whitman. By the way, Dane Whitman was supposed to be in Moon Knight. So that's interesting. I don't know if Moon Knight will be in Blade. Like I said, I haven't read a lot of the comics with like the Midnight Suns, Ghost Rider, Blade, Moon Knight. I don't know if they're going to like bring everybody into this Blade movie first or like, I don't know. Don't forget, before Blade, next October, and I don't know why they didn't talk about this at Comic-Con, next October, we're getting Werewolf by Night.
Oh, yeah.
But like before November, before Blade, we get a Werewolf by Night, Disney Plus. I don't know if it's like a show or if it's like a special, like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special coming out. I don't know but anyway, we're getting Werewolf by Night, which is supposed to have Blade in it before the movie. Mm-hmm. So they're setting up, I don't know if they're setting up Midnight Suns, and I don't know if Blade is going to be in Avengers Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. I'm like, it's very, maybe Blade, here's what I'm thinking. And this is a stretch. I'm thinking that Marvel's doing a bunch of different movies because some of these movies take place in a multiverse. Now, maybe Blade is in the MCU, who knows? But just because something like Moon Knight references, Mandapore, well, that doesn't mean it's in the MCU. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Moon Knight, so it's interesting. The MCU is very interesting because they keep introducing stuff, and it's like, well, wait. So you have Celestials, you have vampires, you have gods, you have Zeus. Who is like the high, who is like, they need to explain this stuff in a book. Mm-hmm. Oh, and so yeah, that's my final thoughts on Blade. And yeah, don't forget about Werewolf by Night. That's coming next year. It's actually technically part of Phase 5. They just didn't talk about it. I mean, it's interesting. Maybe it's not happening. Maybe it got canceled. We don't know. But yeah, that's my final thoughts on Blade. So can't wait for that. Next, we got Ironheart. Yep. Now, Ironheart, we were supposed to meet Riri Williams, which I don't know if you know who Riri Williams is, but basically, she's a fanatic of Iron Man, kind of like how Miss Marvel's a fanatic of Captain Marvel. And I don't want to say she becomes the new Iron Man, but she basically becomes Ironheart, And we're going to meet Riri in Wakanda Forever, which
we actually got a glimpse of her in the trailer, which we'll talk about the trailer after we talk about the Phase 5 slate.
Yeah, so, we're going to see Ironheart. I don't know much about Ironheart. I don't know what the series will be. They did just cast, what's his name? They casted somebody in the guy that played Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, is in Ironheart. So we don't know who he's playing. It won't be a classmate. There's a big age difference, but he might be the villain. Yep. So it's very interesting. And I read this rumor, and it's crazy rumor, but it could be true. They're saying that Alden Ehrenreich is playing the son of Obadiah Stane. Now, if that is true, that's interesting because, Obadiah Stane, Jeff Bridges played him in Iron Man 1, and I actually loved Obadiah Stane. And Jeff Bridges said that the first script for Iron Man 1 had Obadiah Stane surviving the events of Iron Man 1, and we were supposed to get his son later on. So maybe Iron Man 3 was supposed to be when we got his son. I mean, who knows? But Obadiah's son is mad because he blames Tony Stark for the death of his father. So it's very interesting. So I think Alden playing Obadiah Stane's son is actually a perfect choice as the villain for Ironheart. So that's my final thoughts on Ironheart. I'll tell you more what I think when I see a trailer. Next, we got Agatha. I don't want to say
Covenant of Chaos.
Oh, Covenant of Chaos. I was going to say House of Harkness because I thought that's what it was called. Yeah. So Agatha. I mean,
I'm not really excited for it, to be honest.
I mean, the thing that makes me excited about it is we get Catherine Hahn back. She is incredible, but the problem with the Agatha show is, does it take place during the Salem witch trials? Does it take place during that era, or is it actually after WandaVision? Is it in the MCU now, or is it in the multiverse? There's so many questions I have. But we have to, like I said, a lot of these things we have to wait until we see a trailer before I can say my thoughts. I have no clue what the Agatha show is. I honestly don't. So, I mean, all I know is we're going to get Catherine Hahn. We're going to get her, great acting, great performance out of her. So I'm excited for that. That's my thoughts on Agatha.
Now, for the biggest freaking shock that came out of Comic-Con. Well, not the biggest shock. The biggest shock was getting 2 Avengers films back-to-back at the end of Phase 6. We all knew Daredevil was coming back.
Yeah.
They already said they were going to be working on the show.
But I thought...
By God, 18 episodes.
But I thought the Echo show was actually going to be a Daredevil show.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I didn't realize, not only will we get Daredevil and She-Hulk and Echo, oh no, we're going to get a Daredevil show, oh, it's probably going to be 6 episodes. No. The season 1 of Daredevil, Born Again, by the way, it's called Daredevil Born Again, which is, they try to adapt that in season 3 of the Netflix series, the Born Again storyline. Born Again's interesting. But it's 18 episodes. This is a change because, look, I agree with a lot of people, even Mr. John Campy himself. The 6-episode format just does not work. If you have 6 episodes to tell a story, the first 3 episodes should be the first act, and then actually, if you really think about it, 9 episodes would be perfect for every show because first 3 episodes is the first act, middle 3 episodes is the second act, and then the last 3 episodes is the third act. That's how it should be structured. Actually, I don't understand the 6-episode thing now because it should be 9 episodes if you really think about it. That's the lowest they should go. But anyway, I understand because of budget and because we've heard from VFX artists that due to time and Marvel has to get these out on release dates. They can't just wait 3 or 4 years to release a Disney Plus show. We got to have 5 shows every year, which I think is too much. I think the problem with Marvel now is they're putting out so much stuff where it's well, wait a minute, hold up. It's too much. I mean, I know back in the day we only got 2 Marvel studio movies a year. Or we got 3, if we were lucky. The last 3, 2019, 2018, 2017, we got 3 MCU films each of those years. But I think they should only do 3 movies a year and 3 Disney Plus shows a year. That's just my opinion. But anyway, Daredevil Born Again, my most anticipated Disney Plus series. I will say that. I'm more anticipated that than any Disney Plus series. So yeah, Daredevil Born Again, that's my final thoughts. I can't wait to see a trailer. It's 2024, so it's going to be a while. But yeah, Daredevil Born Again, summer 2024. I can't wait. I hope it's as good as the Netflix series because I'm worried because it's Disney Plus, but 18 episodes. If each episode is only a half hour, 18 episodes, that's better than a movie. Oh, so yeah, it's better.
Took my glasses off because the ring was reflecting off my glasses.
So yeah, that's my final thoughts on Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, what do you think about them going to be using the black and yellow suit and not the red?
That's interesting because in the She-Hulk trailer, it didn't look like he had the black and yellow suit. It looked like he had the red and black. Maybe I'm seeing some, but they only showed his torso. Like you saw him fly, but I didn't see yellow. Maybe it's dark yellow, but his new suit, hey, if you're going to, like Charlie Cox said in an interview after No Way Home, he's in the MCU now, but it will be a new version of Daredevil.
Yeah.
They're not, the Netflix show was like a multiverse show. Like, you know how there's variants now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think this is like a Daredevil variant. That's what I think. So,
yeah.
That's my final thoughts.
All right. Now, the movie that we've all been waiting to hear about ever since Falcon and the Winter Soldier is Anthony Mackie's, Sam Wilson's Captain America, which is called Captain America New World Order.
Yep.
Now, it's kind of interesting because I thought about it because last night I started my favorite Avengers show, and I know it's your favorite too.
Yep.
Avengers Assemble.
Yep.
And the episode I was watching, Dr. Doom mentioned New World Order. So that might just be me overthinking everything because, you know, Avengers Assemble's way before that movie. So
yeah. But Avengers Assemble, like that's how the MCU should have been. It's funny because Avengers Assemble, if you watch the first like season, it's like, and then my favorite episode is when they fight Thanos. When they fight Thanos on the moon, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, and then Ultron gets the Infinity Gauntlet. That's what I thought we would see in Infinity War Endgame.
Oh yeah.
And I get it. It didn't happen. The Russos had other ideas, but I just thought that, yeah, but that's Avengers Assemble. But Captain America New World Order, we all knew after Falcon Winter Soldier, when they said that we're getting a Captain America 4 movie, we all knew it was coming. We just didn't know what it was called. Maybe it wasn't even a Captain America film, but we knew we were going to get Captain America in the movies. I mean, what can I say? I hope Bucky's in it. We don't know if Bucky's in it. I mean, as far as we know, Bucky's off doing his own thing. So I hope Bucky's in it. I'm sure New World Order will be when we get the what happens with the Sharon Carter thing. Because, you know, at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier, Sharon Carter is evil. Mm-hmm. Well, it seems that way. Maybe she's a Skrull. We don't know. But I honestly think she is a Skrull. But that's just my opinion. But we're going to get a lot of stuff in this. Maybe it will tie into Thunderbolts because the whole Thunderbolts concept started with Falcon Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if this, like maybe the after credit scene for Captain America 4 will be leading into the Thunderbolts. But yeah, it's going to be interesting about that. But Falcon as Captain America, I wonder, the biggest question is, will Chris Evans' old man Steve be in this movie? I don't know. I personally think they should have had a funeral for Steve Rogers in Falcon Winter Soldier. They didn't, but maybe in this movie we get the funeral. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, he like, the fact that he didn't show up in Falcon Winter Soldier is interesting. I thought we would definitely see that. Because Falcon Winter Soldier takes place right after Endgame. Right?
Yep.
So Falcon knows what Steve is, and yeah, they joked, oh, he's on the moon. No, Steve is still alive and well, but I don't see why we can't have his funeral. Like, remember in Civil War we had Peggy Carter's funeral? Mm-hmm. It was very emotional. I want to see Steve, if Steve Rogers had a funeral, all the Avengers have to show up. All the heroes in the MCU, this is a big deal. So I wonder if we'll see that. This is a movie, so it's interesting. I don't know who the villain is. Who's the villain in New World Order? It sounds like it's the government.
Probably.
And based off Falcon Winter Soldier, it is the government. But yeah, so that's my final thoughts on Captain America 4. I'm excited about it. Anthony Mackie deserves his own movie. He's been in the MCU. hey, this may surprise you. He's been in the MCU since 2014.
Yeah.
So he's been here. So in 2024, when we get Captain America 4, it'll be exactly 10 years he's been in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. I'll have more thoughts when I hear about more stuff.
All right, so now we are going to talk about Thunderbolts, which is my most anticipated movie, but not my most anticipated movie.
Yeah.
It is because we all knew it was going to happen after Falcon and Winter Soldier. And it also is because I want to know how they're going to do, or if they're going to do anything with General Ross, William Hurt, passing away.
Yeah.
Because he would have been Red Hulk, and so now it's my most anticipated because to see that. And I know before we started, you actually told me what your lineup should be. So what are your thoughts on the movie and what your team lineup is?
Well, my thoughts are this. Valentina has been established since Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then she was in Black Widow's after credit scene. Valentina, I forget the actress name. I know this, but yeah, she is Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She is the new General Ross. Clearly, they've been establishing that.
Well, yeah.
Because Black Widow, even though we saw General Ross in Black Widow, that was a prequel set in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, General Ross after Endgame, after we saw him at Tony's funeral in Endgame, that was it. Like, that was his send-off. But Valentina's basically... And by the way, they've been teasing Thunderbolts a lot. If you watch Miss Marvel, they show the maximum prison where Abomination's being held, where...
and they show...
You know,
Abomination in the She-Hulk trailer.
Yeah, because She-Hulk has to represent him, which is interesting that we found that out. But, it's like they're building the Thunderbolts, but we have to see She-Hulk first. But Abomination doesn't seem like he would, he seems like he's good now, especially after Shang-Chi. I'm so confused about why Wong and Abomination are friends. Like, that's just fascinating to me. So I hope in She-Hulk they explain things, because Wong is in She-Hulk too. Probably talking about Abomination and about She-Hulk representing him. But my lineup is, we got Wyatt Russell as U.S. agent, which is different from Captain America, because he was Captain America, Falcon Winter Soldier, but now he's not, so he's U.S. agent. Then we got, I think Baron Zemo definitely will be in the Thunderbolts. I mean, he is, why not? Why? Even if he's not in that maximum prison, which I think he is. Yeah, I think he's in the prison. But I have to watch Falcon Winter Soldier. It's been a minute, guys. But I got to watch Falcon Winter Soldier again. But, so we got U.S. Agent, Baron Zemo. I think we will see the return of Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Remember her? We'll see her. And then the other ones, I think Yelena, who it seems like she's working for Valentina, but I don't know. And don't get me wrong, Yelena is good, but I think she is going to be forced to join this Thunderbolts team. I think the Thunderbolts are kind of like Marvel's version of Suicide Squad, without the bombs in the neck. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, these villains are going to be forced to team up together to maybe get their life back, maybe get freedom, because they've been in prison for years. I mean, right now, if Baron Zemo's been in prison, it's been a year. So it's like he probably wants out. Yeah. So this is how villains can get out. I always wanted to see the MCU villains team up with the Avengers, that the people that put him in the prison. Yeah. Because when Thanos came, I'm like, yeah, but the villains care about Earth too. So I kind of wish we would have saw the villains and Avengers team up to fight Thanos. That's just my own wishful thinking. But Thunderbolts, yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know who's going to be in it. As far as General Ross and Red Hulk goes, I don't know if the MCU was ever actually going to give us Red Hulk. I mean, General Ross, before he died, he was, William Hurt was, getting up there in age. Would they have actually had him be, Red Hulk? I don't know. But I will say this, if they do decide to recast General Ross, go younger, but they can make him into... there's a great actor named Adrian Prasar who was in Agents of Shield as General Talbot, and he had the mustache and the hair. He kind of reminded me of Red Hulk, but he was not Red Hulk. You can have General Talbot become Red Hulk. Who says General Ross has to be Red Hulk? Really, if you think about it, there's a lot of characters that could be Red Hulk, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the comic. But remember what a lot of people always say: the comics are the comics, the movies are the movies. So if you're complaining about comic book accuracy, I'm sorry, but the MCU is not comic book accuracy. It's just not. There's some things in the MCU that are, but it's just not. So, but anyway, Thunderbolt's excited about.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe that is the end of Phase 5.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm excited. Phase 5, here we go.
Yep. Starts with Ant-Man
and the Wasp, Quantumania?
Yep. Ant-Man and the Wasp, or is it just Ant-Man the Quantumania?
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, okay. And then it ends with Thunderbolts. And so, yeah, that's Phase 5 slate. Now, we are going to talk about, in my opinion, one of the most emotional trailers for a superhero movie I've ever seen. That is Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2. I've watched it almost 3 times now, and I've cried every single time. And it's funny because I was watching it at my house last night, and my roommate looked at me, and she was like, "Are you really crying over this?" And I said, "Yeah, like Chadwick Boseman, like he won't be able to be part of. He's a part of it, but it's just emotional." We got our first look at Riri Williams. We got our first look at the new Black Panther, somebody in the Black Panther costume. First look at Namor, and the music was incredible. I think the music's what really got me emotional. Most anticipated movie of this year. Now, before we get into it, I got to mention one movie that I have seen twice now. My number one movie, Elvis, is phenomenal, but I'm hoping Wakanda Forever will be able to knock Elvis down, because as much as I love Elvis, I'm more Marvel, really big into Marvel. So Black Panther 2, hopefully that tops Elvis. It should, because of the way the trailer was. So Zach, what do you think, and who do you think the new Black Panther is?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts about all this. Where should I start? So when Chad died, I thought Black Panther 2 would not happen. I honestly didn't. I thought, it's gonna be, they're gonna have a new Black Panther in somebody else's story, like, you know what I'm saying, like maybe Avengers King Dynasty, they introduce a new but we got, but they said they were still moving forward. I thought they should recast, because to me, to respect Chadwick Boseman's legacy, you need to recast, because T'Challa is a very important character in the MCU. In fact, if Chad was still alive, I think Black Panther would be leading the Avengers. I'm not joking. Like, I think he would be the new, with Tony gone, I feel like with T'Challa being a king, he'd be the new, backing of the Avengers. Like, if the Avengers need a new costume, they need fixing, he'd be doing all that. Like, he has vibranium, he has all these suits, right? Anyway, so the reason why Wakanda Forever was my least anticipated movie of Phase 4 is because without Chad, I don't see how it's going to be good, right? So then I watched the trailer, and all I can say is I'm blown away. Like, they somehow got me, and now this became more anticipated.
No, still go.
This became my most anticipated, even, more than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I mean, Guardians 3 is still above this, but I will say this. This trailer has to be my top 3 favorite MCU trailers of all time. It might be my number 1. I have to look at it and really figure it out, but right now, I've watched it 100 times. I'm not joking. I keep watching it.
Yeah. And so real quick, some person we don't know from the media world, whatever, an eagle-eyed viewer watched the trailer and noticed that in the underwater scenes with all the Atlanteans, they look human, but when they're on that bridge fighting, they're blue and they have a breathing apparatus on. But when Namor is on land, he's still human. That's because of his human nature. I just want to add that in, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, by the way, can I just say, I have waited literally like 10 years since I first read about Namor, like 10 years ago. I've waited 10 years to see Namor in the MCU. And yeah, Namor, you probably know about this. Yeah, there's rights issues because just like with Hulk. But I read back in like 2018 that Marvel actually got the rights back to Namor. And that was before they even thought about Wakanda Forever. So the fact that they found a way to bring him back, because I honestly thought Namor was going to be part in Doctor Strange 2 and part of the Illuminati. I honestly thought, because in the comics he was, right? But Namor's fascinating because I read that they're changing his origin for this movie. And Namor has Namor's been part of the Defenders. He's been part of, he's been a villain of the Fantastic Four.
He's also been a villain of the Avengers.
Yeah, and he was a mutant, or he is a mutant. But in this movie, I don't think they're going to make him a mutant. But then again, they made Miss Marvel mutant, so who knows? But Namor in this movie is perfect. He's the perfect villain. It makes sense. But the trailer wasn't really about Namor. It was more about, this is Wakanda. We're going to open up Wakanda because in the first movie, Wakanda felt like a small city. Not small, but like, not as big as like, New York or, Las Vegas or something like that. But anyway, Wakanda is finally opening up, right? And now we finally get to see, more of Wakanda. And it's interesting. In the trailer, it looks like that T'Challa is dead, because the actor's dead. But it's like, are they going to show how T'Challa died, or are they going to just talk about it? The opening of this movie has got to be explaining or showing T'Challa dying. And I think that shot in the trailer, that may not have been the new Black Panther. Maybe that was T'Challa's last fight before he died.
Yeah.
It could be the opening. Like I said, trailers are misdirect. They misdirect you. They put a bunch of scenes together. You don't know what scene is where. But
a new Lego set that just came out showed Shuri in the Black Panther costume holding the helmet.
But yeah, so the trailer was epic. You got Everett Ross returning, played by what's his name from The Hobbit.
I can't remember.
Yeah, man. Martin Freeman.
Yeah,
Martin Freeman. It took me a while. I'm good with actors' names. I had their face in my head, but I'm like I try to figure out their names. But yeah, Martin Freeman's returning. I want to see what he's doing because, it's weird. After Civil War, we only saw him in Black Panther, but it's like, Infinity War and Endgame, he wasn't even in there. And you would think he would have been because he's part of, like, General Ross's team with Sharon Carter. You have Everett Ross. So it's interesting that they were not in there. But, by the way, real quick, I'm going to talk about Phase 4 that we've got. I'm going to talk about all the movies in a separate video. Because, as you can see, I love Eternals. So I'm going to dissect Eternals. I'm going to dissect Black Widow, Shang-Chi, No Way Home. But right now we're focused on Phase 5. But we want to talk about Wakanda Forever as the end of this video because to me this is the most important movie that Marvel Studios will ever make. It is because after Chad died, think about it. Without Ryan Coogler, I don't think this movie could have ever been made.
No.
He is the only reason why this movie, like if Ryan Coogler after Chad died was like, I can't do Black Panther 2, we would not be getting this movie. They would not have found another director. There's no way. So trust in Feige, trust in Ryan Coogler. This movie is going to be big. I guarantee you. And it's not going to be bad. There's no way these actors would return to make a bad film.
Yeah.
This is guaranteed going to be good. Now, and I will say this. I think critics will give this movie a over 95%. It will be over 95. Guaranteed.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm super hyped. As you can see, I love reading about Marvel. I love dissecting all their films. I love everything Marvel. I have a Marvel encyclopedia for crying out loud. So I'm all in on Marvel. Even though there's some people that are moaning and complaining about, Phase 4's been awful. No, it hasn't. Just because we're getting individual movies doesn't mean it's been awful. The
Yeah.
Eternals was great. Black Widow was great. The problem with I'll talk about this more, but the problem with Black Widow is it's set in 2016 and people wanted, movies that are not prequels, right? But, what's great about Black Widow, though, which I know I shouldn't talk about this, but what's great about it is now when you go on Disney Plus and you go to chronological order, you can watch Black Widow in 2016. It's not part of Phase 4. So that's the thing. So, yeah, it's part of Phase 4, but it's not. But anyway, the real first movie of Phase 4 was, in my opinion, in the top 3 best Marvel movies of all time, Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, yeah. But like I said, I'll go into all that in a separate video. But yes, Phase 4 has been awesome. Phase 5 looks better. Each phase gets better. What's interesting is Feige says something interesting at Comic-Con. They used to end every phase with an Avengers movie. Now they realize they're going to end every saga, which is every 3 phases, with 2 Avenger movies in the same year. They're going to do that from now on. There is no more Avengers.
No more team up.
Yeah.
Thing.
So in Phase 7, don't expect an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
There's not going to be one. Now there will be 2 Avenger movies at the end of Phase 9, but not,
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a good idea. I understand why they didn't do that in the first 3 phases, because you had to get the first Avengers made to see if audiences wanted that, and then you had to make a second movie because the first movie made $1 billion, and at that time that was Marvel's first ever $1 billion comic movie, right? And then Infinity War and Endgame were like the last 2, but you had to do those movies. But now that they've done that, Marvel can now take risk. Think about it. In Phase 2, they made Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was the biggest risk. Everybody said that would be Marvel's first flop. Didn't flop. Ant-Man did not flop. So again, Marvel now can make Moon Knight, which is something that they would never have made, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They can make it now.
And
so
they're making Deadpool 3 and they're keeping it R-rated.
Now, that's interesting. Real quick, there's a couple projects they didn't talk about at Comic-Con.
Yeah, so real quick, before he has that's everything in Phase 5.
Yeah.
There's not much in Phase 6. There's only 3 things in Phase 6.
That was announced, but we know there's 2 more movies in Phase 6. We just don't know what they are. I think I do, but we just don't know.
So we're going to talk about the 3 things in Phase 6 real quick, and then we're going to talk about D23, which, for those of you that don't know, D23 is a big Disney presentation in September.
Yep.
Marvel also has panels there. So with that being said, let's get kicked into Phase 6, which is Fantastic Four, which we already knew was going to happen. And then, to everyone's shock, we knew Avengers Secret Wars was coming. But
the Kang Dynasty, we did not know.
Being the first one before Secret Wars was the biggest shock. Now, why there's only 3 things that were made, or I'm overguessing myself. 3 things announced in Phase 6. There's a lot of missing stuff, and a lot of people are upset that, or I shouldn't say upset. A lot of people are confused, I guess, why the X-Men or Deadpool or any of the stuff they've confirmed or doing wasn't announced. And we think that they're going to announce all this other stuff like Fantastic Four cast, Deadpool
and
3,
director. We need a Fantastic Four director before we need a cast. Yep.
They're going to announce all that at D23. So let's get into Phase 6.
Yep.
We already talked about D23, so we'll get that out. So Phase 6 says it's going to start with Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Which is weird because, it's probably just Marvel doing their thing because they have the whole timeline thing scattered. It says Fantastic Four doesn't come out until November of what year was that, 2024?
Yeah, 2024.
So really, Fantastic Four should probably come out in February or May. But with that being said, let's talk about Fantastic Four for a little bit. I seen an article that said it was confirmed that Tom Holland's Spider-Man was going to be returning in Fantastic Four. Don't know if that is true because it wasn't from one of reliable sources.
That was from when John Watts was scheduled to direct it after No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Fantastic Four actually was supposed to be part of Phase 5, not 6, because you got to think, two things happened. One, they lost a director for Fantastic Four, which means the Fantastic Four movie had to be bumped, right? Because it would have came out before Thunderbolts. I mean, come on. Thunderbolts really should have been in phase 6, if you think about it. But, and then also COVID. The pandemic caused all Marvel releases to be pushed, right? I mean, think about it. Doctor Strange was supposed to come out before No Way Home. So America Chavez was supposed to be in No Way Home, but she wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the MCU really, if you think about it, COVID really actually changed what we got. Like, if you think about it, it really did. Also, it changed, a lot of movies around. It changed, Disney Plus shows around, right? So remember, we were supposed to get Black Widow with Valentina in it at the post-credit scene before we were supposed to get Valentina in Falcon Winter Soldier. So again, many things have changed in the MCU. But yes, Fantastic Four, the director is the one that will, to me, here's my thing. Whenever the MCU casts somebody in a role, like say they cast the entire Fantastic Four, but then they bring in a director, it's like, but the director wants to cast his own Fantastic Four. See, the problem, and by the way, yes, Marvel does do studio interference in the sense that Feige says, hey, can you, like in Thor Love and Thunder, spoiler alert, but in Thor Love and Thunder, in the post-credit scene, Hercules shows up. And Taika Waititi said that that was not Taika's idea. That was Kevin Feige's idea. He said, hey, I want Hercules, and I have big plans for Hercules, which is interesting because Hercules, in the comics is an Avenger. And he's, so I don't know how they're going to, bring Hercules in. But Fantastic Four, you got to get a director first. I read that it could be Steven Spielberg, which, by the way, if they announce it's Steven Spielberg, I'm going to lose my, my mind, because he is, look, I will say this, West Side Story from last year, I was not looking forward to, but I still went and saw it, and I was blown away. Only he could have made that movie work, right? Yeah. So Spielberg is the king at, he has to be my, the biggest director of all time. Him and James Cameron, nobody can top him. So Spielberg directed Fantastic Four. I actually like it. I hope they announce it. But there's also directors. You got Brad Bird, who did The Incredibles. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, The Incredibles is a Fantastic Four movie. Yeah. You got John Krasinski. And I know there's a lot of people, trust me, guys, I want that Fantastic Four movie with John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, and their kids. I want that, when I picture a new Fantastic Four movie, I want a Fantastic Four movie where they're already established as Fantastic Four. Let's just, right?
And they, going on to that, Kevin Feige did say that the Fantastic Four will not be an origin story.
It's not an origin story, but I don't think it's, okay.
Maybe they do, what's a movie for a good example?
Okay.
Where they do a flashback.
Okay. I think, maybe the Batman. Remember in the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, he's in his second year as Batman. What if the Fantastic Four are in their second year as Fantastic Four?
I mean, that's like Spider-Man.
So, and like Spider-Man Homecoming. Remember, in Civil War, he said he's only had these powers for 6 months. So he just became Spider-Man 6 months prior to Civil War. A few months after Age of Ultron, he became Spider-Man. And then in Homecoming, he gets the suit from Tony Stark. And Homecoming is really kind of like Miss Marvel in the sense that it's a coming of age. He, because at the beginning of the movie, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be an Avenger. I'm going to be an Avenger."
But you've seen the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy, it kind of is
his origin story through the entire 3 movies. Yeah. It really is. By the way, maybe we get Spider-Man 4 in July of 2025, right before Secret Wars.
Yeah,
that could be it, because they said Sony said we are going to get another Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Now, just because they say that doesn't mean it's going to happen. And we also don't know the way No Way Home ended. I think that Sony has a perfect way to bring Spider-Man into the Sonyverse now. So we may not see a Spider-Man 4 in the MCU. If we see a Spider-Man 4, it's not even going to be the MCU.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But also, is Spider-Man even an Avenger? I mean, I know Doctor Strange spell made it seem like they know that Spider-Man's still, an Avenger. It's just they don't know who Peter Parker is. So I don't know. It's interesting. But Fantastic Four, let's get back to the main topic.
So yeah, we got that, how it's not going to be an origin story. Now, the biggest question is the villain. Because if they are smart, they won't use Doctor Doom in the first film. They'll use a lower villain. And Zach, who are your villains?
All right, so the way I would do a Fantastic Four trilogy, well, not a trilogy, but just the way I would do the first Fantastic Four movie is, well, I mean, you have to show their origin, which they're not going to. Maybe they'll do it in a flashback, but the origin, and then I would have Mole Man be the first villain of Fantastic Four, because in the comics he was.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a character like Red Ghost, right? And then you have Puppet Master. Puppet Master is Alicia Masterson's dad. Alicia Masterson is the girlfriend of Ben Grimm.
Mm-hmm.
So that would work in a first Fantastic Four movie, actually. So, yeah, Puppet Master, Mole Man, whichever one of you. If I had to pick, it's hard because I want to see all three, but if I had to pick, I would probably pick Puppet Master just because that makes more sense in the MCU, and you can have Alicia meet Ben Grimm and all that.
And apparently, rumors going around that Doctor Doom is going to be in Wakanda forever, but not as Doctor Doom,
as Victor the leader of Sokovia.
And
not Sokovia. Sorry, Latveria.
Latveria.
Yeah.
And if you've watched the trailer, there's a scene in the trailer where the Queen of Wakanda, Angela Bassett, who's an amazing actress, by the way, is at like a council meeting. So back to Fantastic Four.
So, but yeah, I want to say John, but I'm not worried about the actors they get for Fantastic Four. I'm just worried about, is this movie going to be good? Because you got to understand. By the way, I love the 2005 Fantastic Four movie with Doctor Doom in it and everything, and I love the Ben Grimm, Michael Chiklis, Chris Evans. You had Lone Grufford, and you had Jessica Alba. I know people don't like those movies; they're cheesy, but honestly, I don't know why, but I eat them up and I love them, and that's the comic book accurate Fantastic Four movie I want, right? And then the 2007 movie, Silver Surfer, Rise of Silver Surfer. I actually like that movie. I do. And so that's the Fantastic Four movies that I want. Now, the only thing that those Fantastic Four movies got wrong is they turned Victor Von Doom into Norman Osborn, basically. That's not who he is. So I hope this time they do that, but they do it more accurate in the But the 2015 movie damaged the franchise so bad, which is why I think this first Fantastic Four film, I don't think it will hit anywhere close to $1 billion. Yeah. But if it can, if it can make 500 or 600 million, those were the numbers of the first Ant-Man film. If they can make that kind of money, I think they're on a trajectory to be good. But yeah, I think the first film should be Puppet Master. If they do a second movie, which they will, if they do a second movie, honestly, that's when you bring in Doom, and then the third movie I would have Galactus and Silver Surfer. But the problem is now that Fantastic Four is set in the MCU, you can't just have Galactus and Silver Surfer in a third Fantastic Four film. It's like, well, wait a minute, how does Sam Wilson, Captain America feel about this? How does Miss Marvel feel about this? How does the X-Men, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so there's all that. Yep. Real quick, I want to talk about, at Comic-Con, they did not talk about a couple things. They didn't talk about Deadpool 3, which I will say this. I know we're talking about Fantastic Four, but Deadpool 3...
Well, we've actually talked about what we need to talk about Fantastic Four. Yeah. So let's get into the couple things they did not talk about.
Yeah, so first I want to talk about Deadpool 3. Now, Deadpool 3, I'm shocked they didn't give that a release date because they already have a director, Sean Levy, who just did Free Guy, which, if you haven't seen Free Guy, oh my... Guys, please go see Free Guy.
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus. So yeah, Free Guy's awesome. But Deadpool 3, I think, will be that February date movie in 2025, right before Kang Dynasty. I know that's weird to have Deadpool 3 and then an Avengers film. I don't know if Deadpool will be in the Avengers. I think Deadpool 3 is Ryan Reynolds' send-off to the character. What's interesting is Deadpool 3 will be the first X-Men related film in the MCU before we actually get the X-Men, which is weird. But the reason why we're getting a Deadpool 3 in the MCU, and here's why. The first two movies made over $800 million. The reason why is these Deadpool movies are bankable, and Deadpool in the MCU, and the fact that the writers for Deadpool 3 said Marvel and Disney are letting us make the R-rated Deadpool 3 movie everybody wants. So we're literally getting, so Deadpool 3 is really big. Like, I think Deadpool 3 will make more money than Fantastic Four. Just because, and don't get me wrong, I love the Fantastic Four. I do. But the franchise is so damaged but Deadpool 3, it's people have one. They keep asking Ryan Reynolds, say, "Hey Ryan, is Deadpool 3 filming now? Is it filming now?" It's like, guys, hold up. So they really want Deadpool 3. The audience wants it more than anything, So anyway, Deadpool 3 is one. The other one, which is shocking they didn't talk about, I believe I heard that Don Cheadle is in Secret Invasion.
Yep.
And he was just in Falcon Winter Soldier, but he was supposed to be in a show called Armor Wars. And Armor Wars, I read, starts filming this October.
Which, like we said,
so
there was a lot of blank spaces between 5 and 6. Well, no, Phase 5 is full.
Yeah, Phase 5 is full.
Phase 6 is the one that only has 3 things.
What's shocking is they've been talking about Armor Wars before they even got Charlie Cox to come back as Daredevil, right? So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm more excited for Daredevil than an Armor Wars show. I am. But I would figure that Armor Wars would come out in that Daredevil slot in summer of 2024, and then have Daredevil come out summer of 2025. That's what I would think, right? But I don't know. Maybe Armor Wars, since Don Cheadle's in Secret Invasion, and maybe they just couldn't fit it in Phase 5. Maybe it's in Phase 6. Maybe Armor Wars is in Phase 7.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Armor Wars is so we got Armor Wars, Deadpool 3, and then of course I already talked about this, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
So if you look at Phase 1, 2, well not 1, 2 and 3, 2 and 3, Phase 2 and 3, and then of course Phase 4, release dates change and things change. Remember, in Phase 3 they announced a Inhumans movie.
Yeah.
We never got it, right? And also remember, in Phase 3, when they first announced Phase 3, there was no Spider-Man movies. There was no Ant-Man the Wasp. There was just one Ant-Man film. So again, I believe that Phase 5, what they announced that Phase 5 is, I think it will change. I don't think all those stuff that was announced, I mean, I think we'll get all the stuff that was announced, but I think release dates will change, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if that Daredevil show actually gets delayed by a year to fit Armor Wars into Phase 5? What if, I mean, if I had to pick a show to be delayed, not that I want anything to be delayed, but if I had to pick one, I would say either Ironheart or Agatha, or I don't really care, Echo.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe push Echo to Daredevil slot, right, in 2024. That way Armor Wars can go in Echo slot next year.
Yep. So
it's interesting because Armor Wars, if it starts filming this October, it'll be ready by the end of 2023 or early 2024. So I'm like, why would you have Armor Wars done and then have it sitting on a shelf waiting till Phase 6? Makes no sense to me. Yep. So anyway, those are the 3: Deadpool 3, Werewolf by Night, Armor Wars, that are part of. Well, Deadpool 3 is not a part of Phase 5, but Armor Wars and Werewolf by Night, I believe, are part of Phase 5. Maybe they didn't talk about it because they'll save that for D23.
Like we said, D23, guarantee they're going to show. They're going to announce a lot of more stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, with that down, got one more thing to talk about, and that is we're not going to talk about Avengers Secret Wars because we really don't know much about it. We are kind of hyped for it.
It's not going to be like the comic books, and the Chung-Chi director is directing King Dynasty, but he's not directing Secret Wars. You know why? We've heard it from many interviews. The Russo brothers will come back and direct Secret Wars. I guarantee you. Mark my words. I'm saying this right now. I guarantee you Russo brothers will come back and direct Secret Wars.
Yes.
My problem with Secret Wars is the Russos said in an interview after Endgame that if they did another Avengers movie, it would be Secret Wars, but it would be split into not 2, 3 movies back to back. So a year we get one Avengers, part 1, part 2. Yeah. Because Secret Wars, they said, is so big. And also they said you can't do Secret Wars without establishing the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do Secret Wars without establishing the X-Men,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I thought we wouldn't get a Secret Wars movie. Like, Kang Dynasty is great for Avengers 5, but I thought that we shouldn't get 2 Avengers movies in 2025. We should just get Kang Dynasty in 2025, and then we should get 3 Avenger movies starting in 2028, 2029, and 2030. Mm-hmm. That should have been when we got Secret Wars.
Not to mention,
but it is what it is.
Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars are 6 months apart from each other.
Well, that, and also, can I just tell you my thoughts real quick? I think Kang Dynasty is a movie where we will establish the new team of Avengers. Because remember, the Avengers, there's really no Avengers right now. Like, yeah, there's Avengers. There's Ant-Man, Wasp, and Falcon, and Miss Marvel. But it's like, yeah, but like, Hulk is retired pretty much. And She-Hulk, and now that we have new Avengers, remember, She-Hulk's going to replace Hulk in the next Avengers movie. We have Kate Bishop replacing Hawkeye in the next Avengers movie. We have Yelena replacing Black Widow. We have Riri Williams replacing Iron Man in the next. So again, the Avengers are all different. And it's funny because the way it looks, and I'm going to say this right now, the way it looks, I think Sam Wilson's Captain America will be the leader of the Avengers now. Because he's the grown-up while we have all these kids, Kate Bishop, Yelena, She-Hulk. It's like, yeah, but Falcon, or a.k.a. Captain America, is the, so I think him, and by the way, even the new Black Panther may be just a kid. So again, Falcon's the leader. There's Falcon, Doctor Strange, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. But I think Kang Dynasty will be just the last film we get of Kang, and then I think after that, Secret Wars will be when Arsham the Judge comes back and judges Earth by taking all these heroes through all these multiverses, putting them together, and if they win, they save Earth. If they don't win, Earth is destroyed. That will be well. And since we know Phase 7's happening, we know that the Earth won't be destroyed. We know that, so that's a spoiler. So we know that. But Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty, yes, they were in the same year, which you think, oh, we get a part 1 and part 2. No. Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars are 2 different Avenger movies.
And Kang Dynasty, I already know is going to be great because Shang-Chi director is directing it.
Which, by the way,
Shang-Chi was phenomenal.
By the way, I've heard comments online. Some people are not even happy about. I'm like, how can you not be happy? This guy needs to honestly. If I'm Kevin Feige and I'm picking a director out of my Phase 4 movies to direct the next Avengers movie, I would have picked the Shang-Chi director. Because I would not have picked John Watts. I would have not have picked Chloe Zhao, even though I love Eternals, but I just would not have picked Chloe Zhao. I would have not have picked Kate Shortland, who did Black Widow. I would not have picked Sam Raimi, who did Doctor Strange. Because don't be wrong, I love Sam Raimi. And by the way, I love Multiverse of Madness. But again, what Multiverse of Madness showed us was Sam Raimi's not a director that everybody like. He directs movies in a certain style that not everybody likes.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like Zack Snyder, James Gunn. But the guy that did Shang-Chi, that guy can direct a movie that's universally loved. So they picked the right director.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right. So yeah, with all of that down, that's our thoughts. Well, Zach's thoughts, because he likes to think about this. I just give my opinion every now and then. That's the Phase 5, Phase 6 slate. D23, they're going to be announcing a lot of more stuff. Fantastic Four, everything. And like I've said, we're not professionals at this whole YouTube thing. We're just 2 brothers who are gradually obsessed with anything and everything that involves movies, wrestling, DC.
By the way, I will have separate videos coming up talking about each of my Blu-rays and my collection, and I got a lot of wrestling figures. I only collect the rare wrestling figures. So there's so many different topics we're going to discuss. So just stay with us, guys, and hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button, please, and support us, because honestly, we are doing this because we love movies.
We love talking about movies.
Really,
and I came up with this idea to do this because we watch a lot of movie vlog channels and stuff, and we figured we would just like to
try this and see if people are interested in my thoughts. I have many thoughts. I read a lot about Like, I mean, I read crazy stuff. Like, I read about what comic book movies were almost made that did not happen, right? Like,
and like
you know,
he said, like Zach said a little bit ago, because we both work full-time jobs, we can't do this every day.
yeah,
So our main show is going to be, our main episodes are going to be on Friday nights. But from Saturday to that next Friday, mainly him, because I got 2 kids, so I really won't have time to record at my house because they're screaming. So I'm going to leave him in charge of doing separate videos of talking about Blu-rays, wrestling figures. Yeah, so with that being said, next Friday's episode, I don't know what we'll talk about. I'm still debating on if we should talk about DC stuff. We'll do that. We'll talk about the DC Comic-Con panel. It's not as big. But we'll talk about the upcoming stuff like Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Black Adam, if Henry Cavill will come back. Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman returning in Aquaman 2, what that means for the Zack Snyderverse.
yeah, it's his Batman. We got all these Batman running around. So yeah, there's a lot of DC stuff I want to talk about. By the way, if you're wondering, yes, I am a big, restore the Snyderverse guy. I really want, I really like the Snyderverse. And by the way, if you're out there who doesn't like Zack Snyder and all that, and didn't like Batman v Superman, all I will say is look into what happened with the movie, and you'll understand. Because if Zack was in control of the movies that he wanted to make, we would have had a way better DC universe, right? Yep. So DC's in a mess not because of Snyder. They're in a mess because of Warner Brothers. Yep. So we will go deep into all DC next Friday. Then after that, like I said, we'll be talking about a bunch of topics.
Yeah, maybe our third episode, we'll probably do wrestling because
there's a lot going on.
I kind of got out of it because I have 2 kids. 2 toddlers, but I'm trying to get back into it.
Yeah, but I stay caught up on everything. I watch Impact Wrestling, AEW. I watch WWE. I watch New Japan. So we'll talk about wrestling. We'll talk about just all my Blu-rays. I like collecting rare wrestling figures, but I also like collecting box sets of Blu-rays and TV shows.
Mm-hmm. And with that said, I was having an idea earlier in the show. In December, at the end of the year, we will do our our best movies and our worst movies of the whole year. We're going to do that at the end of the year in December. But yeah, so that's the show. Remember, like Zach said, hit that notification bell so you get notified when this comes up. And like I said before, we are not professionals, and I'm editing all these videos through a little app on my phone. We're using my phone camera, so they might not look great, but
by the way, in case you're wondering, we were inspired by the best, which is John Campia.
Check out his channel.
John, if you find us, we love you, man. Thank you for inspiring us to do this. We watch your show all the time. Mm-hmm. And John is the best. So yeah, but we really are not doing this because we want subscribers or anything. Yeah. We're doing this because we just want to talk to people that are interested in this fascinating stuff that is movies, wrestling, even music.
Yeah.
By the way, we'll talk about music. Like I know
because our sister's boyfriend, fiance, I consider him her fiance. He actually has an album, and he has a bunch of songs out right now. And he's really, really good. And I eventually want to have him on the show during an episode for just a music episode where he talks about his music, because I like music too. But yeah, like I said, with that being down, we are not professionals. These videos might look like crap, but we're not doing this for subscribers. We can't go live until we get a certain amount of subscribers. But that's okay, because we don't mind just recording and then uploading it. But yeah, just hit that notification bell, hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we had a rough beginning because, like I said, I'm using my phone camera. So if I'm going to try my best to edit all these videos together.
By the way, if you haven't seen our reaction to Nope, please check for that.
Yeah.
It's called Initial Thoughts on Nope.
Yeah.
And by the way, our next movie is next weekend. We will be seeing Bullet
There you
Train
go.
with Brad Pitt,
And
which
with that being said, also don't forget to comment on our videos or send me a personal message.
yeah, because
Or send Zach a personal message.
we want to hear from you guys what you think. Maybe you have advice for us, like, hey, do this instead of this on your video.
Yep.
We want to learn.
We're on Facebook.
Yep.
Just look us up on Facebook and let us know what he said. Any advice would help. Any topics you would like for us to talk about?
Yeah.
Not politics.
Yeah, not
politics.
Not religion, politics, any of that stuff. We just want to attract people that just want that love movies and stuff, and it's all about.
Then let us know what movie you want us to go see. Maybe there's a small like which Zach will probably talk about this movie in one of his videos.
I just got a movie today.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yep.
Elvis is my top movie.
But it's in the top 3 or 4 best movies of the year.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is probably my number 3 movie.
Yep.
Which he will probably be talking about that in a separate video. But it's a movie that we didn't hear about until
John Campia. And he said it was great, so we went and saw it in theater, just me and him.
And we loved it.
I was blown away. It was actually a better multiverse movie than Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, so let us know what movies you want us to see. Maybe there's a small movie coming out.
By the way, there is a small movie coming out that I want to see. I saw a trailer for it. It's called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I will be seeing that soon. I'm not sure if I'll be seeing it with him or who I'll be seeing it with, but I will be seeing that movie. So look for our thoughts on Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I don't see every movie. Like I said, a trailer has to make me want to go see it. Like, if you watch the Nope trailers, I really wanted to see that, right? The Bullet Train trailer, So, but, like, there's movies coming out this month, like Idris Elba and Beast. I don't really care to see that, but I'm saying that I'm not going to be talking about every movie.
Yeah.
And then in September, we got Don't Worry, Darling, which is Olivia Wilde's directorial debut. Well, not debut. Her second movie, I believe. But Olivia Wilde is, becoming a great director. And then in September, we are seeing No Way Home re-released, and Avatar is being re-released. So, and I unfortunately never got to experience the first Avatar movie in theaters. So,
now, speaking of that, there is also a movie I'm going to be seeing. I doubt he will see with me. It's called Bros, and it's pretty much about. I'm not gay. I love women. Just pointing that out. But it looks like a good movie, so I'm probably going to go see that. But yeah, guys, so that's our show for tonight, our premiere episode of the Anything Everything show.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yes.
And remember, hit that notification bell and subscribe, please.
Yep. And remember, again, we are not professionals. So if this whole video looks like a mess, just, watch it. Bear with us. We're trying our best.
Also, tell us what we can do to improve. Yeah. Maybe you don't like my shirt. If you don't like my shirt, I can change it. I mean, I just wore this because we were talking about Marvel today. If you don't like my background, if you don't like,
And I will be getting eventually an actual video recorder camera or a better phone. But that's our show, guys, and thanks for tuning in.